Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sally Thori, your host for today's webinar. And Faizan, we will start around 4:10, 4:15 as we are waiting for other participants to join this webinar. Well, in meantime, you can explore our social media platforms, and if you like or you wanted to join more session like this, you can follow us there.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining on time. We are waiting for a few more participants to join in. We'll start in another 5 minutes. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for joining the session. So I can see maximum of them have joined in. Let's get started.
Yes, sir. Well, participants, we are starting this session now. Well, I'm hope that I'm audible to everyone and my screen is visible clearly. Obi, sir, you want to say something?
No, no, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, before we begin, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our speaker and all of you, our valued participants. Well, and I'm glad to welcome you all in this webinar, Empower Your Workforce with Microsoft 365 Copilot Use Cases. We are excited to have you join us today as we are exploring key concepts and innovation in this field. Well, this event is a part of Advantage India Skilling, a Microsoft supported initiative by AI NSI designed to equip individuals with essential AI skills. Well, this program covers crucial areas such as data AI, Copilot 365, and GHCP, prompt engineering, and security, highlighting AI's impact on skill development and digital transformation. If you are interested in joining, please connect with us. And if you'd like to bring this exclusive sessions to your organization or colleges, please do let us know, as they are completely free. Well, moving ahead and talking about the organizer of this event, which is Synergetics. So, this event is organized by Synergetics on behalf of Microsoft. Well, with over 30 years of expertise, Synergetics is trusted name in high quality learning solutions and cloud consulting services. Synergetics is also committed to empowering businesses and professionals with cutting edge knowledge to stay ahead in the evolving tech landscape. Well, these are some of the advanced solutions offered by Synergetics. That is persona-based onboarding, onboarding add-on, certification add-on, reskilling, emerging technology training, certification hackathon, cloud adoption, latest technology training, sales, pre-sales training, practice playbook, and architecting. Well, talking about this skilling journey, you'll first roll in fundamental, where you'll lay a strong foundation by mastering core concept. Then you'll proceed with advanced role based, where you deep dive into specialized skill tailored to real world application. And at last moment, you'll roll in expert level, where you'll gain hands-on expertise and cutting edge knowledge to stand out in the AI world. Well, in short, step by step, you'll unlock new opportunities and build new future and a ready set skill set. Well, uh, today's speaker is Mr. Om Prakash, who is highly experienced and Microsoft certified trainer with decades of rich experience in technical learning and implementation consultation across India and the globe. His teaching experience spans across more than 50,000 students and 200 enterprises around the world. Well, currently he is working with Synergetics as an AVP of Delivery Department. Here's what we have planned for today's webinar. As you can see the agenda on my screen, this session will be filled with valuable insights, equipping you with the skills to craft and optimize prompts for AI model effectively. Okay, moving on. Few important guidelines to ensure a positive learning environment. So firstly, show respect to all participant and speaker. Refrain from taking unauthorized photos or screenshot. And lastly, maintain a professional, inclusive atmosphere throughout the session. Well, your journey matters, and we encourage you to share your experience with the community. So what you have to do, just post about your key takeaways on LinkedIn and tag us, that is Synergetics and Microsoft. And or you can record a short video sharing your AI learning journey. The most inspiring stories will be featured on our platforms. Let your voice be heard. You can share this after this webinar or tomorrow. Well, talking about the technology, AI is driving a massive transformation, and staying ahead means continuously upskilling. So, to support this, Microsoft is launching AI Skills Fest, a groundbreaking learning initiative, which is running from 8th April to 28th May 2025. AI Skills Fest will feature interactive session, hands-on experience, and challenges designed to help you master the latest AI advancement, and you won't be alone this. So join thousands of learners, professionals in this movement. It's time to learn, grow, and make history together. Well, stay connected, stay informed, and engaged. So follow us on our social media and join our meetup communities to stay updated on upcoming webinars, exclusive offer, and networking opportunities. Well, now it's time to begin our session. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Om Prakash Pandey, who will take us through an insightful discussion. So sit back, take notes, and make the most of this learning opportunity. Well, thank you so much for listening to me. And obviously, you can take over from this.
Thanks, Hailey. Thank you guys for your patience and support. Like Saili already mentioned, my name is Om Prakash Pandey. I've been associated with Synergetics for last 20 years. It's my pleasure to welcome all on board to this journey when it comes to optimizing productivity with Microsoft 365 Copilot and looking at various use cases that we have across various departments, across various organizational units, and how they can leverage on Copilot. I'm sure most of you all have already heard about Copilot, used some of the resources from perspective of the web-based Copilot, because this is a norm that is happening today with the new generation and even older generation. Everybody is leveraging on benefits of Copilot for quick understanding, getting elaborate answers on their day in day out challenges, day in day out questions or issues that they are facing from their work, talking to the customers, breaking into newer accounts, right? So once it comes to Microsoft, they have they know the significance of it. So that's why the recent acquisition that we had in terms of OpenAI, large amount of investment that Microsoft has done in Google, sorry, in GitHub implementation, right? And at the same time, Microsoft has been working extensively with AWS, Google, and all other cloud platform to become a centralized unit for managing these platforms. So there are multiple extensions that you will see when it comes to cloud based services on how these interactions are possible. Once it comes to the Microsoft 365 platform, from a end user's perspective, Microsoft 365 has been there in the industry from year 2010 onwards. So, so if I say around 15 to 18 years, Microsoft has extensively building and working towards making it an exhaustive platform where you have large number of productivity solutions, productivity tools mapped at one place. That's the beauty of Microsoft 365 environment. With advent of generative AI, like Sally was mentioning about, Microsoft also wanted to make sure that their productivity suite should be enhanced and all the end users who are struggling with analytics, who are struggling with searching the menus, doing comparisons between various files. And I would, when I say struggling, I would say it is taking too much of time to perform even the basic activities. So how we can go ahead and how we can simplify the interactions between the end users and these productivity tools. That was Microsoft's focus area. And keeping that focus area in mind, what we see over here is Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, one would say, Om Prakash, has Microsoft made sure every possible opportunity, every possible option has been updated, modified here? Not possible. So, there are options to extend the environment, map it to a specific business scenarios, and make sure through these extensions we are able to address number of use cases. Now, what are these use cases that we are talking about? Now, these use cases would be specific set of actions, activities that an individual would, would try to achieve when they are working within HR or marketing or finance, right? Or operations. Now, one would say, Om Prakash, haven't people already gone ahead and started customizations? Yes, they have. Within your organization, you all would have seen a lot of integration with teams itself, right? So multiple productivity tools, they would have merged into various channels of teams. Now what would somebody achieve through that? The basic achievement there is, I don't want to jump around one tool to second tool, right? I want to have a single unique, a single unified interface where I can work with different set of components. So even with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, right, there has been number of customizations, number of changes which has been done. Microsoft is trying to simplify those things by using something called as Copilot Studio. And by using this Copilot Studio, they can help organizations to create custom copilots. So like Siley mentioned, as part of the Tech Fest, as part of other initiatives by Synergetics and with association with Microsoft, we are trying to share more and more information regarding Copilot across the industry, regarding the emerging technologies, emerging areas, to make sure people understand and leverage on these cases. Now, one thing that we will have to understand, especially once it comes to these use cases, we will need to make sure we have relevant licenses for it. So, gone are the days where we had free resources, right? Free licenses available. Now, what Microsoft is doing is, most of these services that we are talking about, most of these implementations that we are talking about, these are all license based solutions. So we don't have members over here which are free of cost, right? Free licenses available. Even for free licenses, I'm sure everybody would have tried it out. Even in case of free licenses, you'll have to first specify your credit card details, credit card information. Only then we'll be able to work with these resources, right? So these are some of the changes which has happened in Microsoft world. Believe me on this, the core purpose of making these changes is to make sure people who are aligned to Microsoft's vision, people who are really serious about making these changes, upgrading themselves, enhancing their skills, right? They should be able to work with these members, work with these resources, and get the benefit of these environments. So as I go ahead in my today's session, I'll be sharing some of the critical details with y'all. Before I hop on to the course, let me share some of the URLs with y'all, which y'all can go through while y'all are learning and implementing these resources. There is a learning path which is being mentioned, and as time permits, I would recommend all of you all to go ahead, read all these materials which is being shared by Microsoft, enhance your skills. Just give me a moment. There are a set of labs also mapped with this particular course, where if somebody has Copilot license, they can try out these things. I have already shared the links, course link as mentioned over here, which is available on Microsoft Learn. Once you have been through this course, you can use these badges, upload these badges or post these badges on various social channels. Let the world know that you are learning, you are upgrading onto new technologies. So this was a quick introduction of MS 4004, which is the current course that we are doing, aligned with Microsoft Learn resources. I have already shared the details with you all, so I'll move ahead, make sure we have more relevant information, relevant details being shared. Anyone, any questions during the session, please make sure you all put up your questions on the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Let's get started with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Let me take a pause over here. Guys, once it comes to Copilot, as the name suggests, this is primarily an assistant that we have, a colleague, a friend that we have with us, who's working continuously to make sure we have right set of information, right set of details made available. If you have a normal friend, the person may get bored, the person may get pissed off when you ask a specific question in 10 different ways, 20 different ways, when you ask them to work at odd hours during the night, somewhere during the day. But this guy, this particular assistant that we are talking about, does not get bored, does not get tired, however you want to refer he, she, it, right? This guy is working with you all continuously, answering all relevant questions that you all have, right? And making sure you have right details, right information being shared. And that's what is referred as Copilot. Believe me on this, certain things which was taking weeks for us, gathering of data, storing of information, mapping relevant details, analysis of complex tabular information, generating reports, all these things have been made easier by using Copilot. So let's go ahead. Let's look at some of the key members over here. Let's take a look at a quick video over here. So I hope this makes some sense to us from perspective of what Copilot is capable of. No, it will not play the music every time you type or generate content using Copilot, but yes, it will help you to generate the information which was being mentioned here. Apart from that, the prompts that we all have seen, starting from basic content, basic information to large enterprise or mid-size enterprise information, analysis of historical information, all these things can be done with Copilot. So that's the core advantage that we have. Now, the moment we see this video, I'm sure everybody would have a lot of ideas that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to try out, this is how I want to go ahead, right? Before we jump onto this bandwagon, before we start exploring these things, let's take a step back, understand what is going behind the scene, how it works, right? What could be the uh, challenges, what could be the risks, what should be uh, do's and don'ts over here before we get onto this, right? Because see, it is very easy to invest few dollars, purchase a new product, and if you are not serious about it, you may land up doing mistakes. And then what will happen is, same way like people have heartburns about the cloud adoption, they saw $2,000 $3,000 bill and they say no, Microsoft has cheated us or any other vendor has cheated us, because we were in too much of hurry to try out things, create resources, keep it running. Let's not repeat that mistake here. So let's take a step back, let's understand what is this Copilot all about, how does it work, and then we can leverage and get maximum advantage out of it with minimum challenges or issues. So first thing to understand is, once it comes to your Microsoft 365 Copilot, like I said, it is an assistant that you are working with. It's not a human being, but it is much more intelligent, much more hardworking, right? And it can do a lot of things for you. Currently, what it does is it helps you to work with two members. So one aspect is the data that you have within your local environment, right? The data which you have been using from last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, that is one data set that you have. Along with this, second type of data set that you have is available in the online world. That is how you go to your Bing search, perform searches there, you go to Google search, right? You get data from there, right? That is another data source. The third member that we have over here is called as LLM, that is called as large language model. And this large language model is helping us to integrate and correlate the data available within our on-premises environment, within our current system, current organization, and the data which is coming from outside, merge them together in a proper logical manner and show you a output of that, right? So that's how it works. Now if you see point number 3, powered by LLM, that powered by LLM that utilizes Microsoft Graph data. Now what is this Microsoft Graph data? Graph data primarily would mean if Om Prakash has logged in, Om Prakash will be able to see all the information available within the organization, that is Synergetics Learning Services, right? So all that information where I have permissions, I can see that. When I type a particular prompt or I type a particular query, in the same time when Siley is typing that same text, she may not be able to get that information because she would not have permissions on documents which I have. If my president or CEO goes and types the same query, they would see more information because they have higher level permissions. So once it comes to this Copilot system, it is also based on role based access control. What permissions a user has, based on that they will be able to see the details. Now this is across Microsoft 365 suite, and Microsoft makes sure that when we are talking about this data, they are ingrained in the business content. When I say business content, it is the organizational information. Now one would say, Om Prakash, when I go to Copilot on web and I type certain query there, it shows me hell lot of information from multiple sources. What if my data gets leaked there? My organizational data, some confidential information, credit card number or some such employee number, employee salary, that information gets displayed on the web. It will never happen. And that's what Microsoft promises. So Microsoft promises comprehensive security, compliance, and privacy approach. So another question here could be, Om Prakash, should I be relaxed? Should I uh, publish any information that I want? No, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Microsoft has given a framework. We will have to label, we will have to specify that this particular data is sensitive, this particular data is publicly available. That information, that mapping, data mapping, we will have to do. We will have to do the required data cleansing in the backend so that we do the required mapping of each of these data, which is called as data labeling. So Microsoft gives you the framework, but using that framework to map and label and classify your data is your responsibility itself, because Microsoft would not know what is critical for you and what is not critical. What do you want to maintain private for your team and what you want to make publicly accessible. So that is what we have to do over here. Let's go to one more
Microsoft
video.
365 Copilot is powered by what we call the Copilot system, a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine. It harnesses the power of 3 foundational technologies: the Microsoft 365 apps, that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and more; the Microsoft Graph, That's all your content and context, your emails, files, meetings, chats, and calendar. And a large language model, or LLM, a creative engine capable of parsing and producing human-readable text, all accessible through natural language. It starts with a prompt from you in an app. Copilot pre-processes the prompt through an approach called grounding. Put simply, grounding improves the quality of the prompt, so you get answers that are relevant and actionable. One of the most important parts of grounding is making a call to the Microsoft Graph to retrieve your business content and context. Copilot
So guys, when it says grounding, the meaning of grounding is mapping. Mapping the information that we have got from outside, from the web, with our on-premises environment, and also checking if the data is accessible.
combines this user data from the graph with other inputs to improve the prompt. It then sends that modified prompt to the LLM. You may be familiar with what an LLM can do based on your experience with ChatGPT or Bing Chat. Copilot takes the response from the LLM and post-processes it. This post-processing includes additional grounding calls to the graph, responsible AI checks, security, compliance and privacy reviews, and command generation. Finally, Copilot sends a response to the user and commands back to the apps. Copilot iteratively processes and orchestrates these sophisticated services to produce a result that feels like magic.
So I already have a lot of details within my local system. I have a lot of employees who are traveling. Okay, so Synergix as an organization, we do a lot of offline trainings, right? So I have got a training calendar from one of my customers. I have my people traveling to Hyderabad, traveling to Bhubaneswar, traveling to Pune, Bengaluru, right? In each of these locations, this is my customer addresses. Can you help me with the nearest hotel? Right? Now this kind of information where some part of details is locally available, other part of information we want from web. So that kind of integration also is possible. That kind of customization is also possible over here. That's the beauty which Copilot
Microsoft
brings in. Now, like I said earlier, in my opening details where I mentioned you don't have free aspects here. So here what you will require is there is a license requirement over here. So 365 Copilot, there is a license required. Now one would say, oh Prakash, I already have a license. But you may have license of Microsoft 365 E3, E5, E1 or P1, right? That could be the license, or it could be a business premium license. The current license that you all might have is a basic license of the productivity suite. If we want to use Copilot along with that, we'll have to purchase one more license, which is a Copilot license. Now that Copilot license will be associated to the user account, which is mapped within the Entra ID. So we are not talking about a new tool or a new environment here. We are talking about a add-on, correct? So this add-on gets associated with your existing license and existing productivity tools and helps you to type your queries using the prompts, right? So you can mention simple English level, English like language. It will do the processing of that information, processing of that instructions, and give you the relevant outcome. So once it comes to your Copilot, as part of our Copilot implementation, it understands the user context, and that's what makes it slightly human like as compared to the normal application or a normal productivity solution that we have been using earlier. Most of our applications that you'll see, these are stateless application. Now what we are talking about is a stateful application. Now what's the difference? The difference here is human beings are more aligned to context. They are more state oriented. State oriented in sense, if I am speaking about a certain topic, my next question will be in the same on the same topic or something related to it, unless I am drunk or there is some problem. I will not have two statements in two different contexts, right? So that's the first aspect here. That is understanding the context that user has. So I'm AVP technology or I'm AVP delivery of learning services. So when I'm asking a question, where is the industry going, or how is the industry performing today? Now you'll see this is a very generic question, but since I am AVP learning services, it will give me something about the training industry because it knows who I am, it knows where I am coming from, right? So that's the first very important aspect, understanding the context of the user and what user has been doing in recent past. And you'll have to introduce yourself to this Copilot when you are training this assistant, and see it as a very simple human being that you are hiring for a job. So you provide all the information, what you are doing, how you are doing things, what is your role, what are your primary challenges or concerns that you have. More open we are, more diligent we are in terms of training it, we will get right kind of answers or outputs over here. Once that is being done, step number 2, it will transform the way how it works. So when you are searching for information, it knows what are the knowledge sources that is being attached, where to look for, and that's where the graph plays a vital role. So in the back end, it will keep checking where Om Prakash as a user has permissions and where do I have this relevant data being saved. It will scan those sources, and that's called as RAG. Having uh, augmented retrieval of resources or augmented generation of resources by searching from right sources. And the third member over here would be in terms of writing contents, presentations, data analysis, and all these things is being done while keeping security in mind, by keeping the user control in mind. So I can see a question from Saurabh, very good question. So as far as Copilot is concerned, there are two primary aspects over here from a pricing perspective, where we can specify the tools, what information we want. No, this is not the one. So as far as Copilot is concerned, Copilot is $30 license. Yeah, this one. This would be the right link to help you answer with the question. So Saurabh, when we say license over here, license means it's not consumption based. It is per user per month. So you have business, we have enterprise, and we have personal. I don't think personal has the Copilot option. So two primary options here is business and enterprise. Approximately $30 per user per month. From India perspective, this will be the cost. I hope that answers the question. So if you look at the Copilot architecture, like it was mentioning in the video, Same thing you'll be able to see over here. As part of Copilot architecture, once it receives the input, it will do pre-processing of the user prompt, understand what are you trying to talk about, what are the details that you are expecting the Copilot to do. After asking that question, it will do a Bing search, it will check for plugins over here, check that information on internet, download that information, go to Microsoft Graph, and through this graph it will check what is the information which I have locally available based on the same values. Now once it is being done, it will use the large language model, because whatever prompt you are typing, sometimes it becomes difficult for a normal application to understand. So it will require natural language processing, do the mapping of the question and the resource generated in a proper manner, do the formatting, and once that formatting is being done, the information is being shared with the end user. Now one more thing which I can see over here, I don't know what sense it makes here, that it says Microsoft Graph in backend can help leverage with Power Platform environment, which is Azure, which is Dataverse as a resource, Power Platform as a resource, working with Power Automate. If we have to create any resource in the backend, workflows execution in the backend. If you look at retrieval augmented resource, so here what we are doing is, before generating that content, before sharing that information, it will check with Azure OpenAI. This is something which is happening in the backend, so we don't have to worry about it, how OpenAI works, what are the members available there. If you look at the core components within Microsoft 365 Copilot, three things over here: your productivity apps, which we already have license for or we have already purchased. Second is the LLMs that we have, large language models that we have. And the third member is Microsoft Graph, which is working in the backend. Along with this, what we also have is natural language processing, NLP, because here the user is not clicking on a specific radio button, not clicking on a particular ribbon control. What user is doing is, the user is going ahead and initiating or typing by speaking it to the application. That could be one option, or they could be writing a simple English, which is not like a SQL query or Excel macro, right, which Office applications are meant to understand. So in these cases, there will be additional things which will happen in the background, like tokenization, semantic analysis, but we don't have to worry on that. We just have to mention your command, and once it is being configured correctly, it will automatically give you the relevant details. If we look at the components involved, we have Microsoft Graph, which helps us check the components available, what are the areas or resources within our environment where we have access, right? We can have options with business chat, right, which will help us utilize the LLMs behind the scene. Now once it comes to the Microsoft 365 and Copilot within that, be rest assured that none of this organizational information is available outside. So don't worry on that. That's I can tell you with my experience of so many years, and I have already been working with Copilot from last 2 years. right? 1.5 year to be more precise. Earlier I have been working with Microsoft 365 Power Virtual Agents. That was the older name. Now it has been renamed as Copilot Studio, right? But even there, Microsoft has been very clear. Even with their earlier products, we are not going to share any organization information outside your scope, outside the organization scope, organizational boundaries. So Microsoft is committed to accountability, transparency, right? And if you look at the core ethical principles over here, ethical AI principles, compliance standards, so Microsoft ensures that all this details, all the information that we have is associated with right individuals within the team and they have no issues. But like I mentioned earlier, cleaning of data, mapping of data, giving them appropriate labeling, classification, all these things is something which we will have to take care. Anyone, any questions in a from a broad perspective that we have understood right now? Anyone, any questions? Please put it on the chat. I could see only one question from Saurabh till now. If there are more questions, please go ahead, put your questions here. Let me go to the next module. And once it comes to your Microsoft 365, what are the possibilities that we have? What are the members that we have? I'll quickly run through these members, run through these scenarios before I go to the functional areas. So once it comes to your Copilot implementation, we have its implementation within most of, or I think almost every service that we see within Microsoft 365. People already have started working with the Copilot options available within that. In this session, we'll be focusing only on aspects like Microsoft 365, Copilot in Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, Teams, how we can use business chat, right? Let's go to each and every member here. So once it comes to your Copilot within each resources, so when you are drafting a new document, here we can leverage on Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word, right? And based on the details being mentioned, it can generate the content for you, right? So if you want to link any other documents, link any other information that you have, and based on that information you want to generate this document, we can mention that as well. I'm sorry guys, I cannot help you with the free options or free licenses for Copilot, but what I can do is I can show you all some of the details within my environment, because my organization has helped me with Copilot license. And similar kind of thing you all can do for your customers as well. Describe what you want to write. Guys, I have a small problem on hand. So tomorrow I have a session on content management system, right? I have been assigned a batch last minute. So now what I want to do is I want to generate some of the information here which I can share with my participants. I want to draft some of the pre-test, post-test questions for the batch. I want to create some PPT material. So are you getting it? So that is the kind of use case scenario one can take and start exploring the options here. Okay. Okay, let me go ahead. Uh, Help me with details on content management systems. So that's like I said, it will not give you that music, but generation of that content. What is content management system all about? If I want to go through that, what is advantages of using CMS? What are the popular tools which are available? And finally the conclusion. Now, is it perfect? Is it everything which is required for my session? Maybe yes, maybe no. But from a broad point of view, it has said, Om Prakash, this is what I can do for you. So if anything else is required, please let me know. Help me with 10 questions for pre-test with mid complexity. Pre-test questions on content management system mid complexity. Can you see this? It says now I'm refining the draft. So earlier what I did is I appended that. Now I'm saying thank you, you gave me the questions. Can you please add the answers as well? So now it has added the answers. Thank you very much. Now, like I said, is it exact? Is it uh, absolutely correct? I don't know. But rather than going unprepared within my batch, I at least have something on hand. I at least have something to refer to. I have something to speak about. I have something to share with my team members. Right? So this is how I can go ahead, start working with some of the information, start working with some of the details here. And what I showed you all right now with a specific use case scenario was how one can go ahead and work with Copilot for Word. Similarly, once it comes to Copilot for Outlook, I can do multiple tasks over here. Things like being an AVP, I have so many emails which I receive on day-to-day basis. There are so many emails which I just want a gist of it. Just give me a broad level understanding of what is happening within a particular customer, within a particular inquiry. Something has some batch has gone very good, some batches have gone not that great. I want feedback of all of it. Which person did not perform well, or which person did an excellent job. So I want to scan all those conversation, looking at some of my KRAs, KPIs, right? Keeping those aspects in mind. So what I can do is I can scan my messages, scan these details, and ask the Copilot if it can help me by providing those details. Similarly, I can work with PowerPoint. Thanks, Sharanu. So here I can use PowerPoint presentation, generate these resources using just give me a moment. Let me take up a blank presentation here, right? So I have my Copilot option. Can you create a presentation for me? So create a presentation about role of content management systems for enterprise organization. If there is a file, I can map it over here, or if I don't have a file, I can say go ahead based on the information available on internet. Go ahead, generate slides for me. So tomorrow I have a session. I don't have 2 or 3 days to work on these areas, study number of websites, create information, create content over here. Taking some time.
Is it working slow?
So here what we can do is we can see complete details. We can see the entire presentation over here. I think
Okay.
somebody has kept the mic open. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Maybe somebody from my side. Sorry guys. So here, let's proceed ahead. So this is what it has created quickly based on the current information which I have given. What is the benefits for CM? Again, this may not help me survive for 8 hours or even for 2 hours, right? But from a broad perspective, it has given me saying, oh Prakash, this is what I can do. So when you hire somebody new within the organization, you can't expect a top level kind of performance there, but at least some basic aspects, some basic R&D where you can get started, right? That is something which it can help us achieve. So once we have got this information, once we have got these details, we can go ahead and make more changes over here. We can add more details. Just give me a moment. Right, so this is my file. Let me save this here. On desktop. Understanding content management systems. So I have this file saved. Let me now go to the presentation once again. Okay, so create a presentation by content management system, by referencing a pre-existing file. Give me a second. I'm not getting the mouse here. Yeah. So what I want to showcase here is how we can create a presentation referencing a pre-existing file, and I can mention this file from my OneDrive. I can mention this file from my current environment. When it comes to mapping with OneDrive, that is where it will make more sense. Same way we can do it in Excel as well. In especially once it comes to Excel, it does not give me an option itself. It says first you save this content onto OneDrive, only then ask me for any kind of help. Whereas Word, PowerPoint, there I can even work locally. Right. So here if you see, I have Copilot options available here as well. All of them are disabled for now. The reason being, I have not saved this information or saved this content on OneDrive. So once I do that, turn on auto save. Auto save means now it has to be on OneDrive. So once we are doing that, we can go ahead, add respective formulas over here, add respective details within this. As far as Teams is concerned, lot of information or details which is being mapped over here, we can leverage on that, provided we have transcript options or transcription options made available here. There you'll be able to see the information, right? So especially once it comes to Teams meetings, for manager or even for normal team member, at least they are part of 20 to 30 channels, and on a daily basis they have more than 5000 to 6000 messages that they might be receiving, depending upon what type of organization and how we are working with it. So keeping a track of all that communication, what was being promised, when do we have to deliver on that, right? So all this information, all these details we'll have to keep a tap on, and that's where comes Copilot. So it can scan that details for you and make that information available. So generating minutes of the meeting, any kind of action items that we want to uh, focus on after the meeting. So if you want to generate summary for people who are joining in late, so they would want to understand what has been done, or even if I have missed a particular meeting which was critical because there are too many overlapping meetings which I had. So how do I get a gist of it? How should I be able to solve that option, solve that resource over here? Those things I can do in Teams environment. Just give me a moment. This is how it can summarize what I have missed. Ajay Thakur, Chandrasekhar, Guru Prasad, right? If they have shared some critical information, if they have shared some uh, core details which is relevant for me, I would want to take a look at that, right? So those things I can do it with Copilot within Teams. So once it comes to these implementations, once it comes to these details, how are we supposed to use it? So one approach which I showed you all right now is having a chat experience within Teams environment, which is something which is done on day-to-day basis, or we can go for business chat, right? Just give me a moment. So here, let's go to portal.office.com. So till now, y'all would imagine we have been talking about multiple applications, integration or availability of Copilot within these services. So what are those services? So guys, if you see, these are the services available. There are around 26 plus services that we have. Around 26 plus services that we have within our environment. And my biggest area of worry when I go for any of my customer meetings and try to pitch for Copilot, they say, Om Prakash, we have purchased business licenses, we have purchased high-end licenses. People are not using more than 20 to 30% of these applications. So what is the meaning of purchasing Copilot? They don't even know that there are these services available like Microsoft Sway, Microsoft Whiteboard, Bookings, or Planner for that matter. Many of them are free tools, but people are not using those tools. So my suggestion to all of you all, even though I'm here to pitch for Copilot as an environment, how it will simplify your day in day out activities, but make sure you'll also explore these pre-existing tools, pre-existing services, and when you do that, you'll realize most of the uh, critical organizational information that you are leaking out by using free softwares, you already have a pre-existing tool for it, and your company has already purchased those licenses, right? Unless we are leveraging on those licenses, it becomes difficult to purchase or go for the next set of license in terms of Copilot. Okay, so let's go ahead. Since we're talking about Copilot, let's see the online version over here and the aspects which I was talking about, work and web, right? So that information you can see over here. So from web perspective, what are the generic information, generic prompts which are available, and from work perspective, catch up on meeting, stay informed, see what's coming up. Somebody has mentioned me in chat, somebody has been emailing me if they want to talk to me about certain things, right? I want to be updated on that, right? So here if you see my colleagues, people whom I'm working with, I can see the information there. If you look at web, generic information, generic details which I may want to find out or compare certain printers or any other information. So these are two different environments if you see. So one is the work environment and second is the web environment. Now many of you all would say, Om Prakash, I can see it on your screen, but when I go to uh, portal.office.com, I don't see the work over there. I only see the web, or I just see a single chat GPT kind of interface there, because you all may not have the Copilot license mapped. So once you purchase the Copilot license, it is being associated with your account, associated with your identity by your team manager, then you will be able to see this information there. So what I was showing you is in terms of work or business chat, where you can specify the details and get the information there. So let's go to the third module. I'll quickly run through this because now we are getting into more details. So first we had a broad outline, then going to specific services, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and how Copilot will work. Sorry, just give me one more second before I jump into this area. Let me share a few more links with you all. I have already shared this. This is another video based sessions that you all can go through. Small challenge there. It doesn't go to the required depth, right? But still, from a broad perspective, these are good video series which will be helpful for you all. You all can leverage on this. Now somebody would, nobody has said right now, but somebody may go ahead and say, Om Prakash, why are you saying we don't have Copilot license? I have Copilot license given by my organization, and I can leverage on these. So do tell me if you have any labs which I can practice using my existing Copilot license. If you all have, that's excellent. This is a GitHub resource that you all can download locally. It has relevant resource files, Word document, Excel file, right? Pretty detailed kind of implementation and lab details. What you all can go ahead, synthesize communication, summarize chat, create speech, create slide presentation. Like I give you a scenario of content management system, right? I gave you that scenario. Same way, there are a lot of pre-existing scenarios being given, and we can leverage on that. Let me proceed ahead and share a few more critical details with you all. So once it comes to copilots, what are these copilots? Copilots are based on generative AI. Generative AI is based on artificial intelligence. Now, as far as this artificial intelligence is concerned, this artificial intelligence is based on models, the data models which are behind the scene. And if you remember the initial conversation that we had, we said it is backed by LLMs, that is large language models. So actually seeing there are two models here. So one model that we have is a model created using the Graph API. Second model that we have is coming from a internet, which is a large language model. And what happens in between is the grounding. Now once it comes to this artificial intelligence, once it comes to these models, here we will have to train those models. And that's what will define the outcomes. That's how it will make sure we get right data. See, guys, you must have heard about a friend who says, you go to that person and say, Jatin, can you help me with information on content management system? He'll say, sorry boss, I don't know. Correct? Copilot cannot do that. Copilot will say, I will tell you something. It may be correct, it may not be correct. I am not the judge. You are the final judge who will tell me whether it is right or wrong. But I will tell you something. Now that is the challenge once it comes to AI. So if you want to have a right kind of output from it, you have to train it in a right manner. You have to give the model right information, right sources from where it can pick the details, or if there is any appropriate knowledge source, you can guide him to that. But the best part is once you guide him, every other time he will go and check for that resources in that area. If there is anything relevant which has come up, it will verify that as well. So that cognitive energy and having substantive work being done, that is being taken care by Copilot. So once it comes to your best practices over here, and when we are using this Copilot for productivity as a productivity assistant, we'll have to be very, very clear. Don't give ambiguous information, right? So we have to provide clear and concise prompts. Who are you? What are you trying to achieve? What is the challenges that you have? Be as elaborate, be as elaborate as possible, so it can understand details from it, right? Second very important point, we trust Copilot, because whatever you are doing through Bing, whatever you are doing through Google, it will refer similar sources, so it will generate that information. But if you want to make it more precise, you'll have to verify that information, whether it is correct, whether it has any sensitive information being shared or leaking out. Just keep an eye on that. Don't share it blindly. If there is any problems that you see, you have options of like, dislike, scoring that output. So based on your recommendations, based on the feedback which is being given, it will go and tune and tweak itself. So it understands what you are looking for, what you are not looking for. Your level is at the starting level, mid, or advanced level, right? So based on that, it will keep upgrading itself. So provide that feedback. Avoid over reliance. So don't try anything and everything, give it to Copilot. Don't do that, because it may not know the right sequence. Because like I said earlier, over reliance, see, as a human being, we work on multiple fronts, right? But we work on multiple parallel areas. Copilots don't work that way. So they may go deeper into a specific area, get specialized into that. As a human being, sometimes we are talking about politics, other just 2 minutes later we are talking about some other input, correct? So we keep changing context. As far as copilots are concerned, they may not be able to change context at the same pace, right? So that could be one of the issues or one of the challenges, especially once it comes to working with Copilot and over reliance. Second last point is very, very important. Prioritize privacy and security. So my simple rule over here, it says, don't be in a hurry to adopt Copilot. First, take a step back, evaluate all the data stores that we have, see if we have data classification being done, we have verified for data quality, we have cleaned up a lot of unwanted resources or archived them. Because see, you have limited bandwidth that you have with us, with yourself, right? Why do you want to waste that energy? Why do you want to waste that effort to scan and search for a lot of unwanted information. Okay. Okay. So first thing, like I said, make sure you evaluate the details, evaluate the uh, data resources. Just to mention, one of the primary tools which Microsoft is providing right now is called as Microsoft Purview. Okay. So using this Microsoft Purview, we can scan multiple data sources, apply relevant data classification, do appropriate labeling of those members, where you have customer information, where you have sensitive information, credit card numbers, or uh, employee information, salary details, right? So first, take care of those things. Make sure you label them properly so that even by mistake, such information is not leaked out. And when I say leaked out, it may not be out to open. Even within the organization, I would not want this information to go across departments, right? So we'll have to be careful with that. That's what is the best thing to take care over here. So once it comes to your sentences or statements that we write, that's what is called as a prompt, right? So using your basic English, right? That is whatever you are writing, that is referred as prompts over here. So when you are writing this prompt, we need to take some primary aspects in mind, like what is your goal, what do you want Copilot to help you do with that. I want list of 3 to 5 bullet points for an upcoming meeting. So what is the context that you have? Like I said, can you help me with a document? Can you help me 15 questions, 20 questions on content management system? It can help me do that. So what is the goal? What is the context that you have? What is the expectations? So after that output is being generated, remember I said, can you also add the answers to those questions? You have just given me questions. So it respond with a tone that is friendly but authoritative, right? So if you want to tune or tweak that message, the uh, the Outlook message it has generated, I want to change that, or I want to change the tone, right? So I want to give that kind of instructions to my Copilot. And finally, focus on email, Teams chat. So what is the data source that you want to check for? So that's what I was trying to showcase by using the PowerPoint. When I was trying to create the PowerPoint resource, I also wanted to make sure it picks that information from the Word document. But I had to upload that onto OneDrive, which I didn't do. That is what it was expecting me to. So upload that information there and then get that details or get the PPT generated from that. So once it comes to prompts, there is a specific session that we can go through, specifically called as prompt engineering, where we can specify what details if you want, how we can mention these details in an elaborate manner, right? So some of the key things that one can look at in terms of Copilot limitations: be curious, keep on asking questions, iterate things if you want. If you look at your Microsoft 365 Copilot, most of these things can be done straightforward just by enhancing the prompts that we are giving, just by writing the right set of knowledge sources that you have. But if our If our outcome is not mapped to it, we can go ahead and extend this Microsoft 365 Copilot using graph connectors, right? So what graph connector will do is certain data sources which is not being mapped, we can map them over here. We can have Copilot Studio being used to create specific knowledge areas. We can have appropriate API plugins over here which can work for me, and I can have team message extensions. When I'm creating the when I'm using the Copilot Studio, I can publish that agent onto my Teams environment. Guys, just give me 1 minute. I'll be back. Let me go back to the applications here. And if you see, I have one agent being created called as inquiries app. I'm creating an agent over here. One second. Or let me go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. So this is where you can go ahead and create your own agents. So I have financial insights, safe travels, case management, teams navigator. These are some of the pre-built members. I can go and create my own custom resources, custom members over here. Right? So I can add respective knowledge sources over here. If I have profile of people, appropriate knowledge sources I want to map over here. You'll see I have lot of knowledge sources associated within my Copilot Studio. Apart from this, we can add any custom topics that you would want. Like say here, if you see the topics, goodbye, greeting, start over, thank you, I can add respective topics like batch execution, batch delivery, inquiry I have got, right? Trainer profile. So whatever terms and terminologies are day to day for my environment, my organization, I can map them over here. Who can do TOGAF session? So what it is doing is it's running in a debug mode. You may not want to run it always in debug mode. That's fine. But here what it is showcasing is what is the information or knowledge sources. A TOGAF session can be conducted by someone who is experienced in solution architecting, familiar with structure and operations. And if you see, it is also giving me the standard curriculum. Is also giving me a standard curriculum for TOGAF. Just give me 1 second. Sorry guys. Can Om Prakash deliver TOGAF? Which means Om Prakash's profile is either not being updated or it does not have TOGAF mentioned in that. So whatever knowledge sources is being mapped, we can see that information here. We can see that details here. So we'll have to add those knowledge sources. Yes, Yusuf, you can do that. Yeah, so here if you see, yes, Om Prakash Pandey can deliver TOGAF session. He has experience of enterprise architecting, has conducted workshops. And and the beautiful part here if you see is this links that you can see, it is sharing profile of Om Prakash with TOGAF mentioned inside it. And if you see earlier I tried something like this, who can do TOGAF session? It did not give me the right answer. Now I change the prompt. Can Om Prakash deliver TOGAF? Getting it? Which SMEs can deliver .NET core training? So as we go ahead, as we keep uh, configuring our model, training our model, it can give us right information, it can give us right details. Can you see this? Sonu, Navjyoti, these are two people who can do this. So once I have this custom agent being created for inquiry management, I can help my team members to quickly respond back to the customers. So I hope these examples make sense for you all. Yusuf, as far as Copilot Studio is concerned, this is part of Power Platform, which has a separate pricing for it, and we can also integrate this with Azure OpenAI. So if you're asking me pricing directly, I don't have exact idea on that, because there you'll be moving out, you'll be using combination of the license plus the Azure subscription details. So guys, once we have idea on a broad level, what is Copilot all about, what are the resources that we have, right? Then we can start looking at our departments. In which department should we go ahead and initiate or try out Copilot? Which people you'd want to make sure they understand these details and work with the resources. So here if you see the use case exercises that it is talking about, I earlier showed some of the examples of that. That is part of your GitHub resources. So here if you see, empower workforce for Copilot executives, sales, IT, marketing, finance, right? So you can start looking at some of these areas, some of these use cases that we have. And generally when we do this session, MS 4004, for the entire day, I make sure I go through each of these scenarios, each of the use cases over here, and helping individuals mapping to their department, how one can use these information, use these details. Just give me a minute here. Guys, I'll require 10 more minutes before we wind off today's session. So if you look at one of the most critical resources that Microsoft has shared is called as Copilot Scenario Library. Now one would say, Om Prakash, what is this scenario library to do with the use cases, which is the core of our current session? Whenever we are pitching for Copilot, whenever we are trying to evaluate whether Copilot will be applicable for a given organization or not, so first thing that we have to do is we have to understand that organization. We have to understand various departments within that organization, understand the key processes which are being involved, and then we can provide it as a solution. So here if we see the functional scenarios being mentioned, there are two things available here. So one, just give me 1 second, let me share it on the chat. So while I am discussing about it, you all can explore these use cases as well. So here if you all see, there are specific verticals and there are departments. So we'll have to identify them carefully. So things like retail is a vertical, non-profit organizations is a vertical, manufacturing is a vertical, then healthcare, government, financial services, education sector, energy and resources, these are verticals. Whereas if you look at customer service, if you look at finance, if you look at human resources, legal, marketing, sales, these are departments. So first we have to understand the industry perspective. So from an industry perspective, say let me go to financial services. Within financial services, I can look at a use case scenario of how Copilot can help a broker in portfolio management. Correct? Analyze market overview, analyze client, very important client portfolios. Here we can leverage on customizations, check the recent news and information, again custom Copilot, identify investment opportunities, use Copilot Studio, draft customer recommendations. So this is where we are using Copilot within Outlook, assist with compliance. So what are the SEC regulations that you have? Now this is one use case, and what would be the steps involved? So right now guys, I think my colleague Yusuf, he has the Copilot license. Many of you all may not have right now, but that should not stop you from learning, that should not stop you from exploring what are the possibilities within your current organization, current department. So now you see here it is clarified industry scenarios and functional areas. This is what I was talking about. I took an industry here which is a financial services industry. Now if I go to say legal department, so within legal department, what are the use cases over here? Legal strategy development, contract review, legal guidance. Now whenever we are talking to these departmental heads, see, each of these guys are working on a specific KPIs, key performance indicators, which could be, say in this context is compliance, transactional processes, advisory services, and the value that we are offering to them using this Copilot as a resource is cost savings and employee experience, right? So when we are looking at legal guidance, what would be our steps involved? So not just identifying the use cases, but also we take them through the entire process, explaining that steps which is being involved. Just a area of caution, some of these use cases that is being represented would also involve Copilot for sales, right? And as part of Copilot for sales, this is another license which comes along with Copilot for Microsoft 365, right? That this is a license for a Dynamics environment, and there is another cost of $10 for that. So depending upon, if you are looking at Copilots within other services which is not part of Microsoft 365, there will be an additional cost for that. But here you will see all these components, this one specially is interlaced with Microsoft 365 Copilot, Copilot in Teams, Copilot Studio Agent, Copilot Chat. Every solution, every business solution or a departmental solution that we look at, that is with some 80% to 90% of things will be out of the box. Another 10-15%, 20% at times would be using customization through Copilot Studio. So if you see some of these use cases, they have shared details in terms of what should be the what should be the prompt or the message that one should write using the Copilot prompt gallery. So we can see the information here. Just give me a second. So once I log in, I already have the Copilot Studio. Brainstorm marketing content ideas about Contoso Electronics. So I can put these details here. It will automatically create the required information. So most of this information that we have inside the Copilot gallery, if we have the license, we can try these things out, create required information, create required details. And when we are talking to departmental heads, that's where you'll be able to showcase this information. See guys, we are asking for investment from them. So if you want them to invest, we will have to show these details. But before that, we will have to understand it ourselves. So look at set of videos, go to your Microsoft Learn environment, see these library of use case scenarios and how you can map it to each department over here. Okay, so I showed you examples in terms of legal and finance. You can try for other departments. You can check for these members over here. So as promised, I'll stop with this for today, and we still have 5 minutes to go. Anybody, any questions in whatever aspects we have discussed? Go ahead, ask your questions. So guys, Shubh has shared a feedback link. It will be great. Please share your feedback. So once you have redeemed your badges, make sure you'll publish it onto LinkedIn or other professional networks. Let the world know that you're learning, upgrading on the emerging technologies. Thank you very much, everyone. Over to you, Shubh.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, guys, for attending this session. Thank you, Om Prakash, sir, for this wonderful session. Guys, please don't forget to give feedback form. Fill the feedback. Thank you. Once you guys are done with the session, you guys can end the meet. Thank you so much.